Tuesdays, 9 p.m. on TV 33. Join me, Barry Ross, on Mixing It Up. We'll feature informative community organizations that will offer solutions to Wayne County residents in reference to employment, safety, and security within neighborhoods, job training, education, and mentoring programs. Remember, Tuesdays, 9 p.m. Join me, Barry Ross, Mixing It Up on TV 33. There's another major guy. Good evening. Welcome to another segment of Mixing It Up. My name is Barry Ross, and I am proud to be here tonight. We broadcast to you live on TV 33, as well as Comcast 20. This show is also available online. If you go to TV33, WHPR.com, you can catch us. We want to encourage you to call in tonight. We got a monster show. I got some very powerful men here, as well as a father who's another family, a father who's here representing the loss of his son about a month and a half ago, and we're going to talk about this in a couple minutes. I want you to call us tonight. You're going to want to. When you hear the content of this show, you better look out. These are all 313-868 numbers, 0351 0342 4336. My show, this show, is always available 24/7. Within 3 days, this is going to be posted on my YouTube page. If you go to Ross, B like boy, D like David, 51, Ross BD 51. My middle name is Dennis, so it's Ross B for Barry, D for Dennis, 51. These shows are always on YouTube. I also have a website now, barryross.org. You just go under videos. And, of course, my Facebook page. This is long, the long name, Mixing It Up with Barry Ross on demand. You go and you join, and you're going to hit videos, and you can always see the show. As I was saying a minute ago, I have Anthony Craig Paul. He is the father of Anthony Craig Paul Jr., who was murdered. This young man was shot 8 times. As far as I'm concerned, this was a set-up execution. August 15th, he was murdered at the Extended Family Studio at 5546 Fairview. This is in Detroit on the east side. We're going to talk more about this incident, and within a week or so, there's going to be, we're going to have flyers from Crime Stoppers. There's a reward available. He was set up, and of course, in my opinion, not much is being done in terms of the investigation. We're going to talk about that. I am more than upset. I could go right through this screen for my animosity towards the Detroit Police Department's lack of investigations. I know we got cuts. I know we got morale problems. I know we just lost our chief. I'm aware of it. But these families need some love. They need some respect. They need some kindness, consideration. He lost his son, and they're giving him the runaround. So, listen, it's been almost 2 months, and they're telling him they're still waiting to get the records from the phone company. Unacceptable. At 9:32, I'm very honored and humbled and flattered that Imam Dawood, he's the current executive director of the Michigan chapter of the Council of American and Islamic Relations. The acronym is CAIR. We're going to talk about everything. We're going to talk about what's going on in the Middle East. We're going to talk about relations here. We're going to talk about the misunderstanding between religions. And I was telling him earlier, we all need to learn. I want you to see me. I'm Jewish. I have tonight, I got someone from the Nation of Islam and this gentleman here. I'm Jewish. We're having conversation. We're having peaceful conversation. You need to see this tonight. You need to get in touch that it doesn't matter who we are or what we look like. Nobody is any different or better than anybody else. We're going to talk about Islamophobia. And I'm going to even talk to them about the Sikhs that were executed in Wisconsin. I was at a prayer vigil in Novi for them. Unacceptable. And tonight, the last 20 minutes to a half an hour of my show, I always dedicate to an organization or a person of substance. And my friend, Minister Victor Muhammad, tonight has a very special guest in commemoration of the Million Man March, its 17th year next week, 17 years. He's got a special guest, and I'm going to let him tell you who's coming on tonight. And I'm very proud to be here with these gentlemen of such high stature, and especially someone that looks like me. They're coming on this show to have dialogue on my show. It says something. Okay, we have with us right now, we have Anthony Paul Sr. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me on the show, Barry.
Tell us about what happened on August 15th. August 15th, you need to get a little closer to the mic.
Yes.
You lost your son.
Yes.
And let's tell everybody, first of all, he was how old?
He was 28 years old.
And he was in the music business.
Yes, he produced music. He made what is said to be beats and things of that nature.
You all know what beats are. I even know what beats are. Okay. He was a good son.
Yes, he was.
And he had a wife, a child?
No, he had a daughter, and
what's her name?
her name is Morgan Mackenzie Paul. She's 4 years old.
4 years old, and
Yes,
I bet
yes.
she's beautiful.
Oh, she's my heart.
And this proud father is more than upset, and he wants some help with this. And you even brought your son's diploma tonight.
Yeah, I brought his
All right.
diploma. A few things I was just looking at today.
Okay, you're going to have to hold him up here, and we're going to try to get a close-up. It's got a white background.
A family
But-
portrait here. I had so much stuff, I didn't know what to bring. I
That's
just brought the
okay.
few things that I
That's
could.
all right. There's no right or wrong.
Right.
But tell us about your son. It's hard to see this. Maybe we can get a close-up in a minute or so. Right here. Okay. On August 15th, your son, well, let's get back to his background a little bit. He's 28 years old,
He's 28
never
years
been
old.
in trouble,
No.
and he would tell everybody about your son.
He was a very caring type of young man. He would do anything for anybody. He would give up everything he had to anybody and do without just to see somebody smile. He would go out of his way for his brothers and sisters. He was a mama's boy, daddy's boy.
A good mama's boy.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, and he was just a kid at heart. He loved to play the piano. He loved to see people smile. He always tried to do whatever he could for anybody, even though he never really put a lot of energy into himself. He was never disrespectful. He'd get upset sometimes, but he wasn't a disrespectful boy. He was a great kid. I usually get good things said about my children.
That's
you know.
very nice.
And I just miss him. You know, I just miss him. I hate that it happened to him, and I really want to get to the bottom of what happened. I need some closure.
And his daughter, Morgan?
Yes, Morgan McKenzie.
And I know a little girl named Morgan, too. It's a very cute name.
Okay.
Who's taking care of Morgan?
Her mother's taking care of her.
Okay.
But I'm taking her to school. She just insists that her granddad take her to school. So every morning I pretty much get up and take her to school, and we just have a conversation, and she's constantly asking me when is she's going to see her dad. She's 4 years old. She don't really understand.
Mm-hmm. Well, he was living on his own, your
Yes,
son?
yes.
Had his own place.
Yes.
And putting down beats for quite a while?
Yes, he'd been doing it all of his life.
Really?
Yes, he just loved that piano. He taught himself. He was a self-taught pianist.
Well, are you musically inclined
Yes,
yourself?
I play the saxophone.
Really?
Yes.
So he had an ear.
Yes,
Sometimes we're just born with a gift.
yes.
Okay.
Well, his mother sings, so she would sing too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's going on? He gets you and I have talked. He gets a call.
Yeah, he gets a call. Someone's interested in buying beats from him on this particular day. And for some reason or another, he explained to whoever, this is what I'm told, he explained to whoever called him to meet him at the studio.
And the name of the studio again, is this it? Extended?
Extended Family.
If I may.
Yeah.
XTENDED Family Studio.
Yes,
On Fairview.
yes,
5546. Okay,
Yes.
so I'm sorry. Now, this is August 15th. This is a Wednesday evening.
yes, it is.
It looks like about 9 p.m. Was this the time of death? Or
Well, that's
when
the
he
time
went?
of death. He actually went over there around between 5 and 6 p.m. that day.
Okay, he went over there alone.
Someone dropped him off over there. A friend of his took him over there, because he needed a ride to get over there. He was rushing to get over there. Whoever kept calling him was interested in buying beats.
Go ahead.
And he got there. I don't know what happened. Only thing I know is I have another son who coached Little League football. Around 8:30, I went to pick him up.
Oh, I met him.
Yeah. I went to pick him up. I picked him up. I comes all the way home. I get home around about, I say 9:15. I received a call from my youngest son. He said, "Daddy, Tony's been shot."
And how did he know?
Well, he was at the studio in the basement at the time. Okay, he was at the studio in the basement at the time.
Go on.
He said, "Tony's been shot." Okay, I hops in the car. Me and the son that was with me the other day, we hops in the car. We drives all the way back over here to the studio. They got it, police taped off and everything.
Crime scene.
And they wouldn't let us back there. They said, "We can't go back." I said, "Why not? I need to know what's going on with him."
You told him who you were. You were his father.
And they wouldn't let me go back there. Now, this is what puzzled me. About time I got the call, he must have, I don't know what time he actually got shot, but I had got there and had been there at least 30 minutes, and then the EMS pulls up.
So you don't know if he's alive or not.
I don't know anything.
Go on.
All right. After the EMS pulls up, the EMS, they allow the EMS to get in. The EMS waits another half hour to 40
He was
minutes.
shot inside or outside?
He was outside. He was outside of the studio. He didn't get shot in the studio. Whoever wanted the particular beats called him, and he came outside.
Do you think that he never even made it inside the studio when he got dropped off?
Yeah, he made it inside.
So he went inside.
He went inside.
And for some reason, they come out.
He received a phone call.
Another phone call.
Yes, and they said, "We're here. Come on out." When he came out, someone called him again. Yeah, this is what I'm told. They called him again, and they said, "Who is that?" And they said, "This is me. I have the phone." Then two people run from across the street from an abandoned home and began to shoot at him. I heard he was shot maybe once or twice, and he ran. Then they ran behind him and shot him 6 additional times while he laid on the ground.
Your son was shot, and he carried himself onward to flee.
Yeah.
And so he didn't die on that property. He
No.
died. Okay.
Right.
And okay, so were there witnesses?
No, no one seemed to know anything.
When you got there, about a half an hour after,
Yeah.
everyone was gone?
Well, they were there, but no one seems to know anything. They claimed that when the gunshots began, everybody ran in separate directions.
Did you see the police questioning them?
No,
No.
no.
Okay. And this is, what district is this police station? I can find out. Fairview.
I would say the ninth.
Eastern.
Yeah, ninth
Oh,
precinct.
on Gratiot.
Right.
Okay. And now, this is what I want everyone to know. And I have talked about this and talked about this. This is now a little less than 2 months since your son got murdered. They have his cell phone.
Yes.
But before I get into this, are they returning your calls?
They were returning my calls. Now they return them maybe a day or two later, 3 days later.
Okay. They have your son's cell phone.
Sure.
And you found out today that when you question them about what's going on the cell phone after 6 weeks, where they should have known in 30 seconds the call list,
Yeah.
because I guarantee you I can call my phone carrier and find out what calls I made at 3 o'clock in the morning a week ago.
Okay.
You believe that, right?
I know that
Okay.
to be a
Look
fact.
how they got Godby the text messages right. So you call them today,
Yes.
and they told you what?
They told me they haven't received the phone records yet. They're still waiting for the
But
phone
one other
records.
thing, they told you your son's phone carrier was
Was a Verizon.
and it's not Verizon.
He didn't have a Verizon carrier.
So they're not even, either he forgot or he's not even looking at
Well, I
it.
asked the officer, I said, "Well, which phone number is associated with the Verizon company?" I'm not sure. What you mean you're not sure? You understand what I'm saying? He's saying that he's not sure which number is associated with the Verizon itself.
Okay. If you can say anything to the community right now about all this senseless killing, the lack of interest and regard from the side. Well, now we know that the police, my God, are they having problems? They're getting cut. Andy Dillon in Lansing is threatening maybe to even cut more. They're working overtime. Their morale is in the toilet. We got this thing now with our chief that just lost his position. But in spite of that, they're not given you any love and consideration for a loss of life in your family, your son, your flesh and blood. What could you say to everybody out here? What do you think they need to hear?
Well, Barry, I think they need to hear that as tax-paying citizens living in the community, we need to hold them more accountable for what they do or what they're not doing. It's because of senseless killings, and no one's really trying to get to the bottom of it. I don't have the ability to hug my son anymore. I can't talk to him anymore. He can't call his mother and want to talk to her about his relationships anymore. My children don't have a big brother anymore.
Morgan doesn't have a daddy.
She don't have a dad. And someone took my son's life senselessly, and they went home and they worried about their own. They can go home, see.
Might have went home and had dinner.
Had dinner, and if they had children, they can see their children. They're concerned about their children. You see, you take my son's life and you go home and worry about your child. And I don't know what words to put together to get out what I really want to say, but it has to stop. Somebody need to bring this to a screeching halt.
We're going to give you a minute to collect, and we got a couple calls, and I'm sure they're for you and about this.
Okay.
Are we ready? Good evening. You're on the air.
How you doing?
Stevie?
Yes.
Stevie, I got a very important. Have you been watching the show?
Yes.
Stevie?
Yes.
This father lost his son.
Sorry to hear that.
Did you hear that?
Yes.
I want to help him. And I called your house last week, Stevie, and no one answered. I left you a message.
I hear no mattress.
I left it, I promise you.
Okay.
All right? And let me get back with this father, because I'm running out of time and I haven't scratched the surface with what I want to talk
Okay.
about. Thank you. I love you.
I love you too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
We have another call. Good evening. You're on the air.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
All right. How you doing, Barry? I'm a first-time caller, and I'm calling to let you know about something that's going on. Some concerned Democratic citizens, we put together this President Obama yard sign making contest where the children are making signs to put in their yards for the president to campaign for him. And we're doing this because we're trying to uplift this campaign. You see how it's going. The kids will learn about the campaign by being involved. Maybe their parents will get involved to help them. And I'm hoping this makes the president and his family feel good.
Can I do this? Because I don't know if you've been watching. This father's son was murdered.
Yes,
Okay.
I heard that.
I want to give him every courtesy. Can I take your name and number and call you back and see
Yes.
what I can do to help you?
Yes.
Okay. Gabe, my producer, is going to talk to you right now. He's going to get all
Okay.
your info, and I promise you, I'll call you tomorrow. We got another call? Good
Yes.
evening. You're on the air. Hello?
What's going on?
Hi. Could you speak up, please?
Yeah, can y'all hear me better?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, I just caught the tail end of the show, but I just from what I've seen in the segment, man, I'm a young father, man. I got two young sons coming up, 11 and 4. But, man, just to hear how you lost your son, man, like that is, I just feel so bad, man. I know you just kind of angry inside, maybe even want to tear stuff up, but it's like I see you being real noble, and that's real honorable of you. So I just want to send condolences to you and your family, man. And I know all the killing in the city is going on is just real whack. I don't understand it. Why, we feel the need to operate like this, and the police is just lacking and slacking on their job, and all these politicians keep doing all this corrupt stuff. Like nothing good could go on in a city where, it seems like everything is corrupted. So I just hope, we can get it together, but I'm sorry that happened to you, man. I'm really, really, really sorry for you, man. And I just wish, I want to find out who did it, because it's making me mad, because this could happen to me or anybody, and it's making me sick just hearing about it right now. I just don't feel good right now, even hearing about it. I just feel real bad, man. So
Thank you.
I just want to say that I'm sorry, man. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you. And we know that's heartfelt. And I just want to say real quick that the only answer that I believe is the answer is us. If the men and the women in this city start getting out on the streets in numbers and letting these guys know on the street that we're taking our street back, we can do this. And I've been talking about it for a year and a half. My friend's been talking about it. We all need to organize. Anybody that wants to organize with me, anytime you're ready, you can call me. 313-355-2807, Detroit Coalition Against Violence hotline. 313-355-2807, and I'm not playing, and I can organize, and I can get us a church. Anybody who wants to start patrolling, getting on the streets, does everybody know that the Nation, FOI, Nation Islam, every Monday night, they're going in different neighborhoods all over town. That's what we all need to do. Individually, collectively, we need to start our own patrols in our neighborhoods and block clubs. That's our answer, not the police, non-violently. We got a couple minutes, and normally I give someone 15 minutes. I've even given you more, and it just scratched the surface. I just want to say this. I'm very upset, and I'm fed up that you're all not fed up enough to start getting out of your homes and start making a difference in your own communities on your streets. Stop closing your doors. When someone on your street gets hurt, stand up and do something about it. We need to put our fear aside and realize that we need to just start stepping up. And I'm tired of talking about it. I really am tired of talking about it. Get out of your house at night. Watch what's going on your own block. Organize. Organize. I'm fed up. This man here should not have to have lost his son before him. This is a shame. Why don't we close it out and you just take a couple minutes, and if you'd like, and you got 2 minutes to whatever you want to talk about.
Well, like I said, what you said, Barry, was absolutely true. Until we as men decide to do something, this is going to keep continually.
That's right.
You only can put so much on the police. We have to be more responsible for our children. We need to be there with them. I spent time with my children. My boys went everywhere I went. I took them places. I made myself available for them. I always wanted them to call me. I don't care how big or how small the problem would have been or may have been. Call me. Let's talk about it. I don't care what you're going through. I'll go through it with you. And I think more of these young men or children, men and women, young boys and girls, could be better off if more parents would get involved with them, spend some time with them.
Mentoring even.
Yes.
We're going to hear about mentoring. Victor Muhammad does mentoring.
Right.
We have a quick call. We'll take our last call. We're going to have to go. Hi, good evening. Could you make your call brief, please?
Good evening. How are you doing?
Fine. How are you?
Real good. And I can understand where the gentleman is coming up. He lost his son and all like that. I lost a loved one, too, back there last year. And, one thing about it, when you call the Detroit Police Department, they may come next week. They don't respond to your call. People are out there doing what they do. When they see something going on, they are speaking out. But if you don't have no support from the Detroit Police Department, that's the bottom line. I live in the Wayne State area. You call the Wayne State Police, you get 2 cars there in less than 5 minutes. So I sympathize and keeping you in the prayer, because I know what you're going through. I had a loved one killed back here last year, I believe it was. But anyway, like I said, Detroit Police is not supporting you. You go in and you call or something like that, they don't come out and say everything. Well, I don't care what it is. Take too long to respond. But we got to keep on fighting. But the community, the people are coming out, but then they can only do so much.
That's right.
Okay, I'm going to hang up and listen
Thank
to
you.
this.
And
so keep you in prayer and your family.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your call. I just want to say, Angels Night, we're talking about doing something.
We ought to know by the next show.
Okay. Within the next week or so, we're going to decide what's going to happen with a patrol for Halloween for 3 nights. But we've lost 60-70% of our fire department. They've closed 15 firehouses. you better look out. I mean, just much more is going to continue to decline. And make sure you vote. I could go on and on. I'm not going to take any more time. I told you I want to support you next week. When you know what I'm talking about at Crime Stoppers.
With the press
and if the
conference.
minister and Gabe can come with me, we're all going to give you some support
Okay,
for
thank you.
your son. We're sick and tired of this, and I really want to swear. But so, anyways, you stay tuned. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you,
And
Barry.
we're going to be right back. Thank you. Okay.
Hi, Mom. Where'd you get all this Narcotics Anonymous stuff from?
Mrs. Owens had Narcotics Anonymous come and talk to our class about meetings that can help people stop using drugs.
Narcotics Anonymous.
Yes, please. Can you help me?
Call Narcotics Anonymous. We can help you.
We are the faces of Detroit. We are the faces of Delray.
We are the faces of Delray.
Governor Snyder wants to put us out of our homes by building a bridge in our front yard.
Homes where we raised our families.
A community where we buried our loved one.
Delray is struggling, but it's not lifeless. It's a community of hopes and dreams.
Governor Snyder.
Invest.
Not destroy.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special bulletin.
Did you know that there are over 100,000 abandoned homes within the city of Detroit? If you are tired of abandoned dangerous houses in your neighborhood, please support the Greater Detroit Restoration Project.
Please make all checks and money orders payable to the Greater Detroit Restoration Project. The mailing address, 17301 Livernois, Suite 405, Detroit, Michigan, 48221.
All donations will help fund the expense of boarding up abandoned homes within the city of Detroit and Highland Park. For more information, contact Barry Ross at 248-417-9696 or Minister Malik Shabazz at 313-646-3375.
Hey, come on. Man, what is taking so long? Let's play.
Just getting a number.
Whose number?
Narcotics Anonymous.
Hey, if you need to talk.
No way, it's not for me, it's for my brother. He's constantly wasted. Come on, hoop time. Can you tell me about NA?
Call Narcotics Anonymous. We can help you.
Welcome back to Mixing It Up. My God, this is a hot show tonight. Before I get into my very important guest, I realized I had just a couple announcements, and I can read and talk fast. Greater Detroit Restoration Project is now on PayPal. We need financial support. We are broadening our mission. Not only do we just want to board up and clean up homes, we want to encompass security in neighborhoods, renovating neighborhoods, everything we can to to restore a community. So we have $109 in our bank account. Please, we board up 68 houses. Is nothing. There's 100,000 of them. Greater Detroit Restoration Project on PayPal. Call me, 313-355-2807. Minister Shabazz, 313-646-3375. My name is Barry Ross, B-A-R. So my email is barryross@comcast.net. This show needs financial support. This show right here, I have sponsorship packages available for you at phenomenal rates. You can call me 248-417-9696. You can donate to the show. If you like this show, it doesn't happen for free. They don't just give me this show. We need your help. If you like what I'm doing here, contact me, 313-355-2807. One more thing. It's time for you and I to discuss the lack of public safety in Detroit. How can we sit back and watch our babies get slaughtered day in, day out? It's just a matter-of-fact thing. Just another kid, just another baby, another girl got raped. There's 23 serial rapists in this city, and it's not changing. We want to organize. We can help you organize. I'm sick and tired of talking about it. I want to get out there and start doing more. I want to do more than boarding up. Again, 313-355-2807. You can join a Detroit Coalition Against Violence and new Marcus Garvey movie. Together, we can organize. We can't count on our government. They're taking over the schools. They're taking over the city. They're privatizing. We can prevent this if we join together. Okay, so right now, I want to introduce to you, he's no stranger here in town, Ayman Daoud Waleed. Thank you very much for coming here. And I have to tell you, I am rather flattered and honored that a little man like me has the ability to ask you when you said that you would come on this show. And you don't know a whole lot about me. You've seen me out and about. Tell everybody you are the executive director of, is it CARE?
Yes, CARE. CARE
Okay,
Michigan.
now CARE stands for?
CARE stands for the Council on American Islamic Relations, and the Michigan chapter is one of the 30 chapters of the largest advocacy and civil liberties group for American Muslims.
That is phenomenal. And you are a very learned man. And you, how many languages do you speak?
Just English, and I've studied Arabic as well.
Well, Arabic isn't like me learning Spanish. Arabic is a very difficult language, and you're very fluent. Let's talk, well, I want to jump around a little bit.
Okay.
The Terry Jones thing.
Yes.
What do you think about Terry Jones and this? He has very little support. And where are we going with this now? When's the last time he was here?
Actually, he's supposed to be back here within a day or two, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
He hasn't been here in a few months, but with the protests that went on overseas after that YouTube clip, it seemed to have resurrected him and breathed breath back in him. He's supposed to be protesting outside the Edsel Ford High School in Dearborn.
And when is this?
I believe it's in 2 days. He's going to be back in town.
Okay. Let me ask you this. I say this all the time. There is no religious doctrine, in my opinion, that has ever been composed since the beginning of time, whether it be the Quran, whether it be the Torah, whether it be the Bible, Old, New. In its inherent nature, there's nothing that's composed that contains hate. Am I correct?
That would be correct, yes.
Okay, so if we take any group, any religious group in the entire world, it's always a few fanatics that in the name of God, in the name of, they say, in the name of Allah, they would do this or that. And it makes it so bad for the rest. The stigma that can be created by, how many Muslims are there in the world roughly?
1.6 billion.
And we have, 7.5 billion people that live in the world?
That's correct.
And so you're telling me that 20% of the world, 15% of the world is Muslim. Right. So what a few decide to do that might be considered Muslim, or say they're Muslim, whatever group it might be, pigeonhole the rest to get profiled, to get discriminated against, to get terrorized against.
You know, it's all an issue of framing and as well as politics. If anyone were to go on the FBI's website, for instance, and look at domestic terrorism here in the United States from 1980 to last year, you see that 94% of domestic terrorism, be it acts or acts that were allegedly thwarted by the FBI, were committed by people who are not of the Islamic faith, who are not Arab American. So we have an issue where the overwhelming majority of terrorism, like what just took place at the Sikh shooting in Oak Creek outside Milwaukee, where a Christian white guy came in there and shot up and killed Sikhs, or what happened in Aurora, Colorado, or the guy Joe Stack who less than 2 years ago ran an airplane into the federal building in Austin, Texas. That is what really constitutes the majority of terrorism, or acts of authoritarianism here in the United States of America, but it seems to be that some in the government as well as the media have made erroneously terrorism synonymous with Muslim.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. In the Middle East right now, well, let me just back up a little bit. Gaddafi, the taking out of Gaddafi. What's your opinion of Gaddafi overall? If you could just have a general, if there is such a thing as a generalized synopsis of, he did a lot of good for a lot of people that a lot of people don't know. Am I right?
Well, I've traveled to sub-Saharan Africa, and a lot of people love Gaddafi, and I also know Libyan Americans who reside here in Michigan who weren't too fond of Gaddafi and actually left. I will say regarding the situation regarding Gaddafi, and my congressman is Congressman John Conyers, he raised serious concerns about America's military presence and activity in NATO regarding enforcement of that no-fly zone, which really wasn't a no-fly zone because they weren't stopping Libyan airplanes from flying. They literally were bombing people, hundreds of people.
Innocent children.
Yeah, there were hundreds of innocent civilians that died, thousands maimed, and they were trying to kill Gaddafi in the process. It didn't go through Congress as it should have. We really were involved in an act of war against
NATO?
NATO really was, and the United States led that effort up. So I don't agree personally that military action should have taken place the way that it did, and Gaddafi was killed on the street like a dog. He should have been given due process and given a trial. But maybe some people didn't want a trial because a lot of things could have been revealed, especially his relationship with Tony Blair, Sarkozy, and others. And if you go on the internet, a story came out in the past week that said that individual who killed Gaddafi may have well been working with French intelligence. There's a lot of shady things that went on regarding that situation.
I'm not putting you on a spot, but I don't mind. The CIA and the FBI, ever since it probably was formulated, was always in bed with the other side. And for some reason or another, propaganda, they would slander the other side and make it look like they were the bad guy. We have traded with, isn't this correct? We have traded with bin Laden. We have traded with Gaddafi, right? We have traded practically with every what we would call dictator tyrant maybe for the last 100 years and end up killing them one way or another.
Well, one of the grievances in the Muslim world and even amongst American Muslims is that on the one hand, we have governments, be it the Bush administration, even the Obama administration, talking about they want to support democracy. But we support democracy when it's convenient for us. In other words, regimes that are friendly to us, that we have good relationships, be it in Uganda or be it in Bahrain, we're not calling for regime change or wanting to send military to overthrow those governments. But when the people or the rulers aren't following our program, then next thing you know, we're calling for regime change and using CIA and other intelligence. Like in Iran, we've been calling for regime change for I don't know how many, since 1979. So people see this. We as Americans, we tend to have short-term memory loss sometimes, but in the Muslim world, people remember because it directly affects their lives on a day-to-day basis, and they see as America in some cases being part of the problem, not the solution for them having democratic societies.
As a whole, the Muslim religion, in its inherent nature, is a loving, caring, compassionate lot. Now I'm Jewish, and I was always led to believe, I don't know, up until maybe 5 years ago when I decided that I needed to find things out for myself, that the Muslims were always against us. In Israel, in the Middle East, we have been fighting for so long. What do we need to do to have, is peace, do you ever envision peace in the Middle East? I mean, it's such a general question because even amongst our Arabs are divided. Arab nations are divided. What can we do? What do you think we need to do to have peace with Israel?
Well, first, going back to your question about Jews and Muslims, and there's a saying about history rewards all research. If we go back and to look at the history of Muslim and Jewish cooperation, in the 1400-year history, it's overall been much more friendly than Christendom and Jewish civilization, from my reading of history. Actually, we looked at Columbus Day being yesterday, and he stumbled and got lost here in America in 1492. Well, 1492 was the same year of the Spanish Inquisition, when Jews and Muslims were both kicked out of Moorish Spain. But there were good relations for centuries between Muslims and Jewish people. Going back to the Middle East, there needs to be political reconciliation, but there's a saying that we have on the streets and we chant all the time, no justice, no peace. And the reality is that Israel since 1968 has been illegally occupying, according to international law, Palestinian land. I believe if the Palestinians have their own contiguous state in which they have some control over their water, that they have connecting land, I believe that if there's some semblance of justice, I believe there can be peace for Jews in Israel, as well as Palestinian Christians and Palestinian Muslims.
Israel has not given up that land, right? Doesn't seem like it.
Doesn't seem like it.
It doesn't seem like it. You preside at a mosque in Dearborn?
No, actually, I've been the imam at two different mosques. One at the assistant at Masjid Wali Muhammad, which was formerly Temple Number 1 in the Nation of Islam. Now there's a Mosque Number 1 off of Wyoming, but that's off of Linwood and Burlingame. So I was the assistant imam there for about 10 years. I also was a interim imam at the Bosnian American Islamic Center off of Kniff in Hamtramck. And I've actually had the privilege of being the only black American to ever be an imam over a Bosnian congregation.
And congratulations. In this regard, now I was wondering that myself. So, is this still the case today?
Regarding
you being African American.
That's correct.
And being involved in the Islamic, Arabic, so to speak, faction.
Well, I preach at different mosques every Friday. As a matter of fact, I'm giving the Friday sermon this coming up at 1:40 at the Muslim Uni Center in West Bloomfield Hills. And that's a mixed congregation of Syrian Americans and Pakistani Americans. I go to different mosques every Friday and give sermons at all the different ethnic groups. So Nigerians, Senegalese, African Americans, Bosnians, Albanians. We have a very rich and diverse community, and I'm really proud to say that amongst the Muslim community in Detroit, and I remember Dr. King famously said that the hour of church on Sunday is the most segregated hour in the United States of America. And I think it still is, but you'll find in our mosque that we are probably the least segregated regarding ethnicity and nationality of any religious group here in Michigan.
I would like to attend a service. You know, the interfaith
Yes.
is having an exchange. The one group, the Jews and other people that are involved, they're going to a mosque.
Yes.
And then conversely going to a synagogue, I guess, the following week. You're aware of this?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, I can't. That's soon, I guess.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I have to get the exact date from Rabbi Dorit, but we talked today.
Let me
that.
first say that I wish you peace and love for your people, your family, and that my wish is that we all could learn to accept one another, even with our differences. That the one sameness we share is we're all human beings, and that if we could all work with our humanity rather than our differences, and we look for the differences in this world, and if we don't understand a difference, then we prejudice ourselves due to our ignorance of it. But I wish that we could all recognize one another. We have a call. Good evening, you're on the air.
Hello?
Hi, how are you?
Yes.
You familiar with my guest?
Yes, it's just that I wanted to say that the Jews, they're wonderful people all over, you know.
Some of us.
Beginning of time. And I learned from a Jewish person, but I'm black African American that come from the ghetto. But a Jew took me and trained me and groomed me to be the person I am today. And so people call me Black Jew, but I don't care because I know Jews are great people and they stand up for what's right. And to me, I always felt that other nationalities was really against greatness. So they always saying we got to be against them. But the Jew is the greatest person that ever been born on the earth.
Well,
but they've been cheated.
You know I appreciate this, but I have to tell you, you're talking to a different kind of Jew sitting right here, and I could school you on some things that you wouldn't believe. Just real quick, did you know that the Jews were involved in the transatlantic slave trade in the 16th century and beyond?
Yeah, I know that.
Okay, and
But-
we're not
but
all
they-
good. No group is all good. I appreciate the compliment, but we have our problems.
But a lot of people didn't know that the Jews were the first slaves. But they put it real bad when they shipped the black people to America. So they put it all in the public like that. But Jews was the first slaves, and they were slaughtered. They was spit on as sure as they born. And I know that for a fact.
Well, what the government is doing in Lansing to Detroit is no less than slavery right now, in my opinion. Right now, today, it's a throwback 40 years with what's going on with the violation of human rights in Detroit. Okay, Detroit happens to be, 85% African American. You can call it what you want. It's classism, but it's definitely racism. And they're depriving these young people of education, of jobs, of everything, so they can take over the city.
Yeah, but they should all build businesses and do things for
Yeah,
themselves.
no question.
Instead of always looking for a job from somebody else that'll give them 90 days and then lay them off.
Thank you very much for your call. I appreciate it. Yeah, let's take one more quick call, and I want to get back to Daoud. Good evening. You're on the air.
Good evening. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
And good evening to your guest,
Good
Barry
evening.
Ross. You're absolutely right with your comments you just made. Now, what I want to hear, I want you to give your guest, I know his name, I can't remember, and what number we can contact him with. You know, I'm going to hang up and listen to all that so I can write it down. But you're doing a good job. I appreciate your show. And I've always listened to your guest. I can't remember his name. I got to write it down and get the information for him. I'm going to hang up and listen.
Okay, I appreciate your comment, and I'm always humbled when I walk the streets of Detroit that so many Detroiters who aren't Muslim show me so much love. And at the end of the day, it's about work and service for humanity. But my name, sir, is Daoud, D-A-W-U-D, and last name W-A-L-I-D. And my number is 248-559-2247. That's 248-559-2247. And you can even hit me up on Twitter. I'm not on Facebook, but I'm on Twitter. So my name is all together, D-A-W-U-D, W-A-L-I-D, and that's my handle on Twitter. So you can follow me on Twitter.
Thank you. I guess he's gone. I just want to say something for the sake of the viewers that I'm not trying to be African American. People might look at me and say, what is this guy doing, this Jewish guy? What is he starting? Let me just tell you what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to bridge the gap that we live in ignorance and have lived in ignorance so long, and just because we don't understand the other side, we push them away and we spread propaganda without knowing the truth. And that's in every religion. So when you see me, and yes, I'm controversial because these things need to come out. My white you-know-what needed to come here and have on the kind of guests that I have to show everybody that we don't need to be separate. We can all work together. We can all join together. We should all check each other's religions out. All of us, no matter what. This guy that killed the Sikhs in Wisconsin.
That's Wisconsin, yes.
This Sikh maniac. I went to the protests in Novi. 750 Sikhs. And I was always led to believe, and I'll make it brief, that the Sikhs were very, very radical. I always thought the Sikhs were from India. I mean, I really just didn't know. And that's how we are. What we don't know, we don't understand, and we stay away from it or push everybody away for ignorance. And I'll be honest, I've learned a ton here tonight, and I hope that I was up to par, and I hope that I was respectful to you in the context of my questions, because I wouldn't want to overstep my boundaries. I would like to have you back, and I want to learn more, and we all appreciate you.
I appreciate you as well,
We
Barry.
appreciate you coming to the show. And do you want to give your contact information again, or are you good?
I think I'm good.
Okay. We're going to take a short break, and you stay for a second, and we're going to have Minister Victor Muhammad on with his special guest. So stay tuned.
Peace to everyone out there tonight. Peace.
Are going to want to check me out. First Wednesday of every month. Join me, Barry Ross, remixing it up. It's webtv.com. I'm going to be reporting to you the facts and the truth, the way our society is running in Metro Detroit. 8 p.m., bringing you featured guests in relation to community, education, violence, what's happening on the streets in our town. It's Web TV, Barry Ross, remixing it up. Wednesdays at 8 p.m., the first Wednesday of every month. Remember, remixing it up with Barry Ross on itswebtv.com.
There are all kinds of people. Their variety is almost endless, and that's a good thing. Diversity is our strength, and so are our similarities. But there's one thing that far too many people share: addiction. If you are sick and tired of being sick and tired, call Narcotics Anonymous. Addiction doesn't discriminate. We can help you.
You're watching Power Talk on your community TV station, UHF TV 33, Detroit, Highland Park. The following program does not reflect the views and opinions of Channel 33, its management, or sponsors.
Hello, I'm Christina the Glam Tech, owner and operator of Studio Glamour Salon. We're located in East Point, and we're here to make you glamorous. We specialize in big glamorous hair, vintage hairstyles. We specialize in special occasion hair, color, cuts, hair care, and all phases of glamour. Give me a call at 586-872-2272. We are located at 22109 Gratiot between 8 and 9 Mile. And glam up your life. For first-time client, we are offering a $10 off coupon. Just mention the commercial when you book your appointment.
Welcome to Metro Foodland, where you will always find courteous service. Our hardworking staff always gives their all to maintain our dairy fresh and wholesome products, cold cuts, premium meats, and of course, we have some of the freshest produce around. Check out our deli and bistro. We also carry specialty items such as Tanisha Noni, Water Station alkaline water, and much, much more. If we don't have it, just ask, and we'll do our best to get it. Remember to ask how to join the Sports Club. Seniors and ladies, always ask for an escort to your vehicle. We'll see you soon at Detroit's own community grocer, Metro Foodland, located at 18551 Grand River. That's 18551 Grand River, near Finkel and the Southfield Freeway. Remember, that's Metro Foodland.
Assalamu alaikum. This is Brother Victor Muhammad. I am the Director of Prison Reform Ministry for the Nation of Islam. I am a student of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad under the teachings of the Most Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and under the regional auspices and direction of Minister Rasul Muhammad, son of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. This has been a very powerful program today, and I want to cap it off and bring forth my vision for where we should be going. We've heard a lot of pain about the deaths that's going around the city and about all the trials and precedents that's going around the city. But many don't realize that 7 days from now will mark the 17th anniversary of the Million Man March on Washington. I want to set the stage for what we was going through. We're a few years out of Boys in the Hood. We were a few years out of Menaces to Society, and the East Coast, West Coast rap war was in its infancy, but it was starting to take lives. And all of this negativity was broadcast all around the world about the black man here in America. And all around the world, there was a pretense that we were savages, that we were bestial, that we were unresponsible, that we would make babies but leave them, that we were the #1 killers of one another. I'll also say, during that time, Clinton was your president. Cost of gas was $1.09. The same year, 1995, Timothy McVeigh used a truck bomb to blow up the federal building in Oklahoma City, and also it was an underlying current that the Nation of Islam and Muslim radicals were involved with that bombing. O.J. Simpson was found innocent.
Mm-hmm.
The DVD format was announced. eBay was founded, as well as Yahoo. But during that time, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was constantly looking at the increasing conservative and hostile climate toward the black community. We had just came from Bush Sr., and some of us was fooled into believing that Clinton was our answer. But in our inner cities and in our neighborhoods, we were still suffering under a miscommunication of the black man here in America. So the minister called 1 million disciplined, committed, dedicated black men to come to Washington, D.C. to not only make demands of the government, but also make demands upon ourselves once we left D.C. and went forward. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan put this call, and it was for us to convey to the world a vastly different picture of the black man. And also on that day, it was the day of absence. We were not supposed to go out in the community and spend our dollar to show our economic power here in America. And we asked the women to stay at home and to reflect and pray with our children while we as men took the forefront in taking responsibility. We went to Washington to atone, reconciliation, and be responsible. Atonement, reconciliation, and responsibility. And it is under this pretense that I'd like to introduce my guest for tonight's show, Brother Paul Taylor, the chairman of the Million Man Alumni Association. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, my brother. Salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
You know, I am very honored to have this opportunity to come here today to speak to you and to the viewing audience about an organization that we founded on the way home from the Million Man March. It was such a beautiful experience. It was such a heartwarming experience. It was such a peaceful experience that some of us on the bus ride back, led by our brother James Booker, whose name I will always lift up as the founding member of the Million Man Alumni.
Yes, sir.
And he said to us that this is just too good to let it be over and done. We need to take this back to our city and keep that spirit alive. And we have now for 17 years.
Yes, sir.
Probably we think we're the only chapter in the whole country that's been meeting for 17 years. And we're proud of that. Our organization has been meeting week after week, month after month, year after year for years.
Yes, sir. That's
providing
right.
programs, services, and activities for our people in our community right here in Detroit. And we do it all under the guise of the pledge that we took in 1995. The pledge that told us that we need to go back into our communities and begin to do some good in our neighborhood and to bring some unity to our community. And it's through that light that we, again, started and created the Million Man Alumni.
And we are very proud. And it's not how you start the race, but we know that it takes a special type of people to persevere to the end. We are in the 17th year. Paul and the organization have not stopped one bit. And it is this type of dedication to our community that is lacking, and that's where these stories we heard earlier in today's program with the murder and mayhem that's in our community, because when we came back from Washington, we were a different people.
Certainly
You know,
we were.
we had a different attitude. We stood side by side with people that on a normal day we would have argued with, we would have fought, we would have stabbed, we would have shot. But in this time, and I remember the Million Man March so vividly because there were so many cameras there expecting to look at failure and to record failure across the world, and they never got the chance to do that. And the minister didn't ask you to say, he 2.5 million people there, he didn't say, join the Nation of Islam.
No, he didn't.
He said, go back to your community and join the NAACP, the Urban League, the church. And that was the momentum that started your organization.
Most certainly. And as you mentioned, it was a very spiritual day. It certainly was. It was peace, love, and harmony. Never seen anything like it from the time that we were on our way there in the bus stops and the rest stops that we stopped in, and to see brothers all embracing and hugging, not knowing what city you were from, what your economic situation was, what kind of problems you may have had at your home. It was all about love and peace.
And I
the
remember-
minister was so profound to call us all together.
And that's when you know it's not a man that's calling. That's when you know God is intervening into your affairs. Because a man can't think with that much foresight. So when you just submit yourself and let God work through you, that's how you call that. And I remember the Adhan being in the middle of the darkness. You couldn't even see them all. It was black. But you heard Imam Ahmed Tijani saying, Allahu Akbar. And you didn't know how many brothers out there. And then as the sun rose, you started looking and seeing wave after wave of black men. And like you said, you didn't know where we were from. It doesn't matter where you was from at that day.
It didn't matter at all.
Okay.
We were black and proud and was willing to say it loud. And it was a very,
That's right.
very special event.
What is your most vivid memory from the march?
Well, I say again, to see that many people gathering together in one umbrella, under one umbrella, with no sign of any negativity. There was no cussing, no fussing, no
That's right.
fighting.
That's
there was
right.
nobody calling folks the N-word and other kind of nasty names. Everybody, if you stepped on a brother's toe, everybody said, excuse me. The brother who told you stepped on, he said, excuse me, while you was telling him, excuse me.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it was just that beautiful of an event and a peaceful event, and it couldn't have been any better. You couldn't have wrote a script like that. You couldn't have. You couldn't have made a movie like that.
Yes, sir.
This was something that was real. The
Yes,
creators
sir.
had blessed it to be real.
Yes, sir.
And we enjoyed it tremendously. And we met people from all around the world. We like to say that Detroit had the biggest delegation. I know some other cities claim the fact.
I think statistically, Detroit did have, I had heard the estimate it was over 85,000 came from Detroit alone. So that is the number one, in my years of being in the nation, I had heard that Detroit did have the biggest contingency to go to the Million Man.
And we've claimed that ever since.
And ain't nothing wrong with
we
claiming
were biggest and the best. And in that regard, we came back and said to the brothers, and we're calling all brothers, that the spirit of the Million Man March still lives today.
That's
It
right.
lives within us who indeed did travel to the march. We are the alumni, as if you went to a college or
That's
you
right.
finished a schooling or whatever it might be, and you graduate from it, so to speak, you become an alumnus.
Okay.
So those of us who went to the Million Man March, and even those who didn't go, if you couldn't go for whatever reason.
It was covered by CNN.
It was on all day long,
Yeah, all
the
day
whole
long.
whole thing.
Mhm.
Many brothers, as you said, didn't go to work that day, but they stayed home to watch it.
Brother Paul, we have a caller. Caller, are you there?
Hi. How you doing?
I am well by God's grace and permission. How are you, sis?
Fine. My name's Steve. And put the Halloween is coming up. Put the porch lights on.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for calling, ma'am.
My name's Steve.
Okay, Steve. Thank you. We will do that. Okay, we'll take another call. Caller, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I remember that march very well. I had just started working for the city of Detroit. Are you there?
Yes, sir. Just speak up, please.
Yeah, I don't want to turn my TV up. I got it on mute. But I'm trying to listen to you, brothers, and I'm hearing you because I had just started to work for the city of Detroit at that time when the march. I just got hired in, so I was going to take that day off to ride with the entourage from Detroit.
Yes, sir.
And someone that had been working there said, "Man, you're gonna lose your job. You better go on and keep this job." During the event, that's what I did. But I remember that very well, and I've been following it ever since.
Praise
and
God.
I applaud you brothers, for what you do.
We applaud you too, brother.
And I tell my brother Hodo I thank him because I've met him a few times. And the producers and engineers, man. Keep it going, man. I'm going to get back with it. I'm going to get on down with you.
Okay, dear brother. We thank you for calling in. Have another call? Caller, are you there? Hello, caller, are you there?
TV. Me.
Caller, are you there? Speak up.
Yes, I'm here.
How are you doing, brother?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm well by his grace. You have a comment or a question? Okay, thank you for calling, brother. One thing I wanted to ask. We talk about the Spirit. If you were there, you carry that Spirit. Like as we talk about it, I feel chills because that's something you can't forget. How do we get today's youth to understand what we did there? Because today's youth, if they're 17, they don't remember it.
No, they don't.
You know, or they were very young. So how do we inject into them the spirit of the Million Man March and get them to understand the importance of us coming together unified as one brotherhood?
Well, you know, that's always the $64,000 question or the $64 million question today. But I think example setting is what we have to do. We have to show leadership. We have to embrace our young people. We can't be fearful of our young people like too many of us are. Mm-hmm. We've got to sit down with them and show them by example that this is a world that we can all get along, that we can all work together, that we can all, should I say, work toward our freedom and our liberation. If we all pull together, there's no limit to what we can do. And young people need to know that they're living in a time where they're being taught that there's no hope, that there's hopelessness, that there's no way that you can survive. Many of them think they're not going to live to get to be adults because they just understand the climate that they're living in.
That's right.
But if we can get to them and show them through example that this is the beginning, this is not the end.
That's right.
And the key to our salvation, the key to our liberation is togetherness, unity.
That's right.
Unity is the key. And if we can achieve that, again, there's no limit to what we can do. And that's why we're calling all brothers to come out and celebrate with us. And we have sisters that we're inviting as well because everyone's welcome as we celebrate, again, the 17th anniversary of the Million Man March.
Would you give them the
And we'll be doing that on Tuesday, a week from today. And it will be held over at the Alkebulan Village, right at 7701 Harper Avenue on Detroit's east side. And we don't want anyone to say it's on the east side, we can't come. This is open to everybody. East side, west side is all God's side.
That's right.
And we want everyone who is wanting and willing to come out to come and serve with us at 6 p.m. from 6 to 8, again on Tuesday the 16th. We're going to have speakers. There'll be edutainment. We, of course, know that that's entertainment that educates, and we'll have some of that as well.
We need more of that.
Most certainly. We'll have refreshments. Keep the Vote No Takeover organization.
Okay,
Sister Helen Moore and her organization, year after year, they have supported this event. They come with all kind of good food to eat.
Yes.
And that banana pudding that she cooks every year, we look forward to it year after year. And so Sister Helen's going to come and her delegation of people, and they're going to bring all kind of special treats. And if we're lucky, we may even have some fish, I'm told, for some of the people who want to. And it's a free admission. This event is totally free. It's a family affair. If you want to bring the children, that's welcome to do so. Alkebulan Village has opened its door, Brother Marvis Cofield, and he said that we are more than willing to come and partake and have an event there at the Alkebulan Village. And so it'll be on Tuesday from 6 to 8. We're going to have live entertainment. Jimmy Blackman Rutherford, who always sings that song. If you're a black man, you got to be an African.
Yes.
Brother Jimmy's going to be there, and he's going to perform, and we're happy to have him. We have a spoken word group that call themselves Black Tie. Brothers Black Ties over on Kirksville Avenue, got a dynamic program over there, and they'll come and they do a poem, a spoken word poem on the Million Man March.
And I will be there.
And I know Brother Victor's going to be there as one of our speakers.
I'll be back in town.
Oh, yeah.
And I do want to mention that, of course, the minister in the 17th anniversary of the Million Man March is going to be, we're going to be in Charlotte, North Carolina. He's going to speak from the Bojangles Arena on October the 14th. And the doors are opening at 12 o'clock and the program starts at 2. And also at Muhammad's Mosque number 1 will be a live webcast of that keynote address of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in the 17th anniversary of the Million Man March. And definitely, there's such a misnomer about that. Now, there's one thing that we know for certain, that they have a problem counting, don't they? Mm-hmm. Now, if we had, if we got into a fight, they'd have said 950,000 black men riot in the Capitol.
Oh, they'd have said 3 or 4
million. If we had a shooting amongst 7, 8 million, but they could never count it because they can't count us in a way that they can't see us.
Of course not.
They couldn't see us calm. They couldn't see us brotherly. And some of the stories that came out of the Million Man March, there was the brother who had the flat who didn't have a jack. And the brothers lifted the car up and changed the tire.
Changed the tire.
And there's fathers who never met their sons before at the Million Man March. There's so many positives out there. The voter registration, the voter, the adoption rates, the paying of child support.
Most certainly.
You know, they never coordinate, and they also never talk about the economic impact the Day of Absence had.
And the vendors that were there, and the brothers understand the need to support their own. Mm-hmm. I mean, we spent money with people who look like us, and we bought from them, and we purchased items, and we bought food stuff, and it was just a beautiful event all down the line, and that's why we're honored to celebrate again. You know, one of the things we're going to do is we're going to lift up some of the ancestors of brothers who have been a part of our organization, who have gone on, but their spirit still lives, because we continue to say, long live the spirit of the Million Man March. And so we're going to lift up and pay homage to 3 brothers this year. I want to mention their names. Every year we give homage and respect to Brother James Booker.
Yes, sir.
His family, his wife knows that we will always love and cherish his memory. A brother who gave of himself in every way he could. He was actively involved in Keep the Vote, No Takeover, the Inner City Sub-Center, the new Marcus Garvey movement.
Yes,
he was a warrior.
Yes,
and he was one of the founding members, and I would call him the founding member, again, of the alumni. And so we respect him every year this time. We also going to lift up our brother King Joe Palmore.
Yes.
King Joe.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Those of us who know King Joe, we love that brother because he was a very special brother.
That's right.
Who, again, was involved in the community, actively involved in, again, the new Marcus Garvey movement, the Black Panther Nation. Brother was involved at the Inner City Sub-Center, the East Side Community Slate. He was a brother who was committed to his people, and he gave of himself freely. He was a brother, if you needed something, he would take it off his back and share it with you. And we will always cherish his memory. And then there's another brother that we want to honor that many of us may not remember, but we will never forget, and that is Brother Bill Malachi. I don't know if many of you knew Brother Bill Malachi. I know Brother Minister know him, but Brother Bill Malachi, we give that brother the homage and the respect because he was the one who gave us the idea of the food co-op program.
Yes, sir.
He is the one who was doing a food co-op before he came to the Million Man alumni. And he shared with us the information of how we should go about establishing our food co-op program. And ever since then, we have put it and made it a staple of our organization. Every second Saturday of the month, including this coming Saturday, we have our food co-op. Because we go by the motto, if you want to help lead the people, you got to help feed the people.
That's
and
right.
that's the motto that we've used year after year. So we ask the donation. The donation is menial, and you get much more than your money's worth if you buy through our food co-op.
Definitely.
We don't do canned goods. We don't do dry goods. We do fresh fruit, fresh vegetables.
Eat to live.
Eat to live.
How many original members of the alumni?
You know, we have a kind of fluctuating group, I'll call ourselves, but we got a good dedicated half a dozen or so brothers who are there week in and week out and involved in every project that we undertake. And then we have some other brothers who we know we can count on when we need them, and we can call on them. And see, one of the things that the alumni has done, not only have we done the food co-op on a consistent basis, but we've always came to support and be party to other programs that were being put on in and around this city ever since our inception.
Yes,
and
sir.
they could count on us at Kwanzaa time.
Yes, sir.
The inner city substance could count on us in working with youth programs. So could Akibalan Village. The New Marcus Garden Movement knew if they needed us, we're going to be there.
That's
if
right.
there's a crack house we marching on, a store got to be closed, we're going to be there. The nation, we've gone to the nation,
Definitely.
to those services on Wyoming,
Yes, sir.
week in and week out.
Yeah, yes, sir.
We've been there because the alumni understood that we were and we want to be a part of what's already going on in the community. We didn't want to recreate the wheel. We didn't want to try to say that we're going to start everything anew. We wanted to do as the minister said to do, go back and join existing organizations.
Exactly.
Get involved in institutions that are already doing things and help them to do them bigger and better. And so we've done that as alumni. Yes, we have our own projects, our own programs, but we're not afraid to join Keep the Vote No Takeover in their effort to save our babies. We've done some of this, that, and the other, and we're proud of that. And when some people say, well, where's the Million Men? Well, what have we done? Any and everything that you've done, we've done it too.
Exactly.
And we're proud to say that.
I just had an idea that came through my mind because the minister is constantly reminding us that we're getting older and we have less years in front than behind. What about the longevity of the Million Man alumni teaming with a youth group so that stays alive as we go and patch the torch? That's where we have failed in most recent years in our passing of the torches. I always thought I was going to always be a young member of the nation. And now I'm looking 50 dead in the eye, and I'm not so young anymore. The body tells me that as well.
Yeah, and you're more than right. So we're working right now with the Akibalan Village, which is a youth program, on the east side of Detroit. There's an entrepreneurship training component that we're working with in relationship to them. That's an old program of the Inner City Sub Center. We're over at the Russell Bazaar,
Okay, yes,
right
sir.
here.
That's
and
right.
Right not
That's
too
right.
very far from here. We're there on the weekends. And we got young people that we're training and saying and showing them that you got to want to own and operate businesses in your own community. If you don't, then you're destined to be under someone else's control for
That's
the rest of and all of your life. And so that's part of what we do. So young people are a fundamental part of what we want to address and need to address, and we understand that. We do a little mentorship. I've had people call us up and say they got a young man who maybe is going astray, maybe he's not doing what he should do, and asked us if we got a brother who can kind of take him under the wing and kind of set him up in the right direction. So we've been glad to do that, and we will continue to do that. If anyone should call us, and they can call us at 313-477-1146.
Okay.
That's the number they can reach us as the alumni. If they have some projects or some young people that they would like to see us help and work with, we'll be more than happy to give our support whenever and wherever that we can.
Okay, as we get to the end of the program, there's a couple things I definitely want to go through the 8 steps of atonement that the minister had taught us. And the first one is pointing out the wrong. The second step of atonement is acknowledging the wrong. The third is confessing the wrong, the fault. Fourth is to repent. The fifth step of atonement is to atone. The sixth step is forgive. The seventh is to reconcile and restore. And the 8th step is the perfect union with God. Those are the 8 steps of atonement we should take with one another, to family, husband to wife, wife to husband, to children, to neighbor. And if we took those 8 steps, those were the steps that the minister taught us on that day. And that's what kept us not arguing with each other, not bickering with each other. But see, they knew that when we came back, there was a new spirit in the black community. And there's secrets that people don't know happened as a result of the Million Man March. The increase of weapons in our community. The actual population of federal prisons doubled from 1995 to 1996. The cost of cocaine and heroin went down. It did. It went drastically down in our community. Kilos were about 19.5 at that point in time. So what did that do? That flooded our community with more drugs. That increase of weaponry made us more barbaric of protecting turf that really wasn't ours. The rate of incarceration, the 3 strikes laws, and mandatory sentencing all came after the Million Man March. Because we came home, the Crips and the Bloods were at a truce. They were not fighting anymore. The Disciples and the El Rukins in Chicago, we weren't fighting anymore. But after that, the instigator and the mischief maker did what they had to do to get us out of that. And many brothers who went to the Million Man March ended up becoming incarcerated and victims of laws that were passed designated for that. You know, so I really wanted to, and also, like I said, the 17th anniversary is 7 days from today. But this weekend, if you'd like to go to Charlotte and see the minister live and in person, we have the Holy Day of Atonement bus package from October 12th to the 14th, 3 days and 2 nights for $299, and that includes a $20 ticket to the main keynote address. And if you just want to ride the bus and have your own arrangements, it's $119 and $99 for children under 17, and you can contact Maria Muhammad at Miles number 1, 313-283-7245. And in closing, I want us to say this pledge.
Say the pledge all over again. Let me just give my phone number one more time.
Please do.
Our event is going to be again on Tuesday, 6 o'clock at the Kibalan Village. It's free admission. And if you want further information, you can reach us at 313-477-1146. Again, that's 313-477-1146. And that morning, by the way, there's another special event at the barbershop right here on the west side. Right on, I'm just slipping my mind just that quick. On Wildermere, brothers having a breakfast there, have it year after year, 9 a.m. If you want information about that event, call me. That's the Holy Day of Atonement. We're taking off work that day. We're going to spend some time with our brothers on that day. So give us a call. We'd appreciate it.
And dear brothers, this was the pledge that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan gave us on this historic day. There's never been anything like it before, and there will probably be nothing like it again. But this is the Million Man March pledge. I,
Brother Paul,
state your name, that from this day forward, I will strive to love my brother as I love myself. I, state your name,
Brother Paul,
from this day forward will strive to improve myself spiritually, morally, mentally, socially, politically, and economically for the benefit of myself, my family, and my people. I,
Brother Paul,
pledge that I will strive to build businesses, build houses, build hospitals, build factories, and enter into international trade and commerce for the good of myself, my family, and my people. I pledge from this day forward I will never raise my hand with a knife or a gun to beat, cut, or shoot any member of my family or any human being except in self-defense. I,
Brother Paul,
from this day forward, I will never abuse my wife by striking her, disrespecting her, for she is the mother of my children and the producer of my future. I,
Brother Paul,
pledge from this day forward I will never engage in the abuse of children, little boys or little girls, for sexual gratification, for I will let them grow in peace to be strong men and women for the future of our people. I,
Brother Paul,
will never again use the B word to describe any female, but most particularly my own black sister. I pledge from this day forward that I will not poison my body with drugs or that which is destructive to my health and my well-being. I
Brother Paul,
pledge from this day forward I will support black newspaper, black radio, black television, and I will support black artists who clean up their acts to show respect for themselves and respect for their people and respect for the ears of the human family. I will do all of this, so help me God. Long live the spirit of the Million Man March.
Long live the spirit of the
Million Man March. Long live the spirit of the Million Man March. We thank you for tuning in. May God bless and keep you, and you have a wonderful week. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
It's 9 p.m. on TV 33. Join me, Barry Ross, on Mixing It Up. We'll feature informative community organizations that will offer solutions to Wayne County residents in reference to employment, safety, and security within neighborhoods, job training, education, and mentoring programs. Remember, Tuesdays, 9 p.m. Join me, Barry Ross, Mixing It Up on TV 33.
Stop wasting all your hard-earned money putting ads in the newspapers, and you